Orale, you already know who it is. It's your boy Gordo, tapping in from Phoenix, Arizona. And as you can see right here on the thumbnail, who we're going to be speaking on, the Alaskan Avenger. Okay, and this is a reaction video from JD Delay. They're saying, oh boy, got jumped into sleep. And the Alaskan Avenger, if you don't know who he is, you'll definitely know by the end of the video. So let's go ahead and get into this video, but do me a favor first, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. When you hit that subscribe button, make sure you select all so you get notified every single time I drop some content. Well, let's get into this video.
Know that I'm really good friends with Jason Vukovich, the Alaskan Avenger. Now, as we've talked about in the past, I'm just going to give a quick debriefing here. Pay attention, listen up. Jason was the guy in Alaska who used the Alaska offenders list, you know, the list where people have to register and they can't be near a school and they can't go near a playground because they're creepy and they do bad things. Those dudes, right?
And if you remember, or if you don't remember, I had mentioned this gentleman on the last video I had did with Steve Nig versus Jared Fogle. Steve Nig was a gentleman who was actually locked up with this other guy, the Alaskan Avenger. And if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. My boy Steve Nig, I got to give him a shout out again for putting hands on Jared Fogle, but I had to call BS when I seen it. So it is what it is. And if you haven't seen that video, go check it out.
Jason had been, when he was a kid, somebody did that to him. So it just kind of festered. And he got more and more mad about it. And he saw these dudes, because he was in and out of prison too, you know what I'm saying? He saw how light of sentences these dudes get and how they go out and they just re-offend and they hurt more kids. So Jason decided at one point he was going to take it upon himself to be the Avenger.
And that's so true, man. I've seen so many people get football numbers, get 10, 20, 21, 25 years over some crazy, just drugs. And this lame dude right here, I'm not talking about the Alaskan Avenger. I'm not talking about Steve Nig. I'm talking about Jared Fogle. You know, got what, 15 years. But let's jump back on the video. And what all I'm trying to say is that if you notice, a lot of these chomos do get less time than what other people get for drugs, robbery, whatever.
Angel for those kids who had been abused like that. And he went and got himself a nice stout hammer and he took a list and he double checked the list to make sure that these were child offending people. And he went to their homes and he
was like Santa Claus. He was checking his list and checking it twice. He definitely found out that they were not nice.
Kicked his way in their door and he beat them with a hammer. He used hammer, not pee-pee, and he beat him with a hammer. And so he ended up, after the third one, he got caught, right? And they gave him 19 years. Now, if you stacked the sentences of all three of these dudes who had ruined kids' lives on top of each other, it would not have even equaled 9 years, which is what he's spent in so far. So
that's exactly what I just said. And that's what we're talking about.
He calls me every single Saturday morning, and we talk usually for about an hour and a half. So I keep a good gauge on what's going on in his life and everything. He's had a parole hearing where they knocked 5 years off his sentence. So if he doesn't get in any trouble in prison for 5 years, which let me just tell you right now, as somebody who's done a lot of time in jails and prisons, it's really hard to go that long without getting in trouble. It's hard. There's so many little petty rules, and if he gets one write-up, bro, they are going to add that 5 years right back on top of it. So he's fighting to.
Well, it also depends on the write-up too, man. I mean, they have minors. They have what they call minor write-ups, and they have majors. For instance, a minor would be smoking a cigarette in an unauthorized area. Okay, but a major would be refusal of a drug screening. Something like that. Or a major would be carrying a shank, or something like that. So it also depends, on that.
Stay out of trouble to try to not get 5 years taken back away from him, right? So he's really got to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard because people are going to test you, and if you don't fight back, then people aren't going to respect you in there. So he really has to like walk this fine balance. He also has a workout car in there. He's not involved with a gang. He doesn't want to be involved with a gang, but he has a workout car of people that are all like really dedicated to working out, and he drives them. He drives them to be out there programming, running their routine. He's in recovery from substances, so he makes sure that they're not messing with substances and stuff like that. So he got a young Selly. And this dude, I'm going to give you this kid's backstory real quick. So this kid was horribly abused. He was horribly bullied. He had a really hard time in life, right? They caught him outside of his school with a rifle, a high school, right? And he was just crying. He was weeping in his car. He was having a horrible, horrible mental health breakdown, and he didn't want to hurt anybody.
Well, the good thing about that, at least they caught him before he ended up making the wrong mistake, and definitely could have changed his whole life forever. I mean, obviously he's doing time, he's in prison. I mean, that's no good, but at least he didn't end up killing anybody and having to spend the rest of his life there.
But they caught him outside the school, and he had a gun. So he was in prison. In Alaska, when you're fighting a case, they keep you in a real prison. So he got celled up with Jason. Jason read his paperwork, and he's like, we'd be having a real different conversation if you had hurt a kid, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, and that's crazy because, okay, I could have swore the last video, Steve Nig was this guy's best friend or pretty close to it. But what I'm not comprehending is that how are they on a yard with so many chomos? And why would they even put them in that predicament? I just don't get it. Is that how the feds are? Again, please answer my question. Let's make it make sense.
But this dude is young. He's like 19 years old, I think, now. And this happened when he was still 17. So, he was going through a lot. And Jason's kind of taking care of him, watched out for him. And he started him on the weight pile. I saw pictures of the kid when he went in at first. And he was just tiny. And he's getting some stack on him. He's getting some swole on him. So Jason has him working out every.
And that's the good thing about the feds, boy. They feed you good. I've never been there, but from what I've heard, I've heard that they feed you very well, and that's all I know is I heard they feed you very well. It's a lot different than the state pen.
Hey, Jason's keeping him out of trouble. Jason actually stopped him from getting in a wreck with some people, but you know how it is. Kids want to do what kids want to do, right? And this kid on Christmas, Jason had told him, the kid said, hey, these native cats over here said I can eat with them for free. They're going to give me a free meal. And Jason's like, yo, there's nothing free in here, my dude. Don't go do that, right? But Jason goes to bed early. He's in bed at 9 o'clock every single night religiously. That's just his get down.
Now, that's the truth, too. Ain't nothing free in there. But let me tell you something. Doing time in the East Coast, Midwest, Dirty South, whatever you want to call it, is way different compared to the Southwest and the West Coast. Yes, it is very racial, very segregated, but at the same time, there's reasoning for that, and we take care of everybody who falls under our car.
He's been doing this a long time. Ain't nothing good happens after 9 o'clock. So he goes to bed, and the kid goes and he eats with these natives. And then they, for the holidays, everybody brews up Pruno in there. And Pruno is like a toilet wine. You'll take like fermented fruit, and you get some yeast, and you get a lot of sugar, and you make like a toilet wine, and it gets people drunk.
White lightning, baby.
People are in there getting drunk. You know what I'm saying? They got this kid blackout drunk, and somebody comes and wakes Jason up and says, "Jason, bro, they got your."
Okay, and I'm gonna let you guys in on another thing also. Like here in the Southwest, which is Phoenix, Arizona, and the Arizona system, the native Indians, Native Americans, they actually sit down and they can break bread with us. They can actually sit at the same table with us. They run with us. I mean, they have their own car, but they still run with us. Out in California, they don't. They are considered others. See, and that's how it varies from different states. And obviously, out there in Alaska, I don't see it being racial like that. And I assume those are native Eskimos or just native to the Alaskan land. No disrespect. But yeah, that's a difference, a big difference.
On the ground, and they're about to get him. And so he jumps up in his boxer shorts and runs down to this cell in his underwear, right? In prison. He gets there, and there's these four natives in the cell, and one of them is on top of the kid, and he's like biting and licking the kid's neck. The kid's half passed out on the ground.
What? Biting and licking the kid's neck. Oh shit. Yeah, we know it was getting ready to go down. Yeah, see, that shit don't happen out here. It just don't.
And Jason runs over, grabs the dude, throws him. Jay said he's dead sober. These dudes are all drunk. So he slides each one of them once or twice. You know what I'm saying? But he said it was like easy picking because they're like drunk as hell. But they were about to gang this kid. You know what I'm saying? And like, this is wild to.
And it's crazy too, because that's one thing you always know when the natives are drinking in the joint, or even in the county. You always know when the natives are drinking because they start getting loud. They want to start fighting with each other. They're ready to bust out them tomahawks, baby. And that's real talk right there.
Because this stuff doesn't happen out here on the West Coast in prison. Different places have different types of politics in prisons. You know what I'm saying? Out here, it's real racial and it's real political. And the white gangs.
And I assume that's Oregon. Am I right, JD?
I'm not a fan of white supremacist gangs at all whatsoever, but one thing that I will say is the whites having gangs and sticking together means that if you're a white dude and you're down on a charge that doesn't have to do with like a bad thing, you ain't gonna get your booty took. That just isn't gonna happen. Those gangs, they're gonna make sure that doesn't happen because somebody's gonna die over it, right? But Jay saves this kid, man. He saves him. And so the kid stays on Jay's leg for like the next few days and completely won't leave Jay's side. He's terrified. He knows he almost had four dudes run up inside of him. Hold that thought 1 second. Laura Hancock, I love you, sister. I thought he would be liked by the other.
Yeah, let's hold that thought for 1 second.
And we can read a newspaper through the other end. Big love to you, freelancer. Red Light 77, have you ever heard them beach cops too. Them beach cops have just as much, if not more, authority than police. But you got to think about it. The game wardens are actually a federal thing, and federal supersedes state at all times and county at all times. So that would make sense to me, bro. Love you, dog. Jason Simmons said, "Yo, JD, asking again if you've looked up Rat Park." Also, before this, he didn't really think, the reality didn't really dawn upon him of how quickly and how easily he could get took. That's a reality in a lot of places. Getting your butt took is a reality in a lot of prisons.
Yes, again, and you're right, JD. But like I said, that's gonna be like the Midwest, the East Coast, the dirty South. You know, all them places they play that ball game.
You know, it's not out here on the West Coast, but a lot of these places where they don't have organized gangs and everything. And a lot of people give gangs a lot of crap. Oh, gangs are terrible. There's no good anything about gangs. The gangs are the reason in prison why a lot of people don't.
That's what keeps a lot of structure, man. That actually saves the administration a lot of BS, if you get what I'm saying. Because a lot of times all that stuff can be cleaned up amongst a couple people just talking. You know what I'm saying? If you catch my drift.
Have their buttholes taken, homie. You know what I'm saying? And anybody who's been on a hardcore yard out here on the West Coast is going to tell you that's why that doesn't go down, because the gangs will kill you.
And again, I'm sorry, no disrespect, but that's not Steve Nig. He was not on no hardcore yard out here in the Arizona state prison system, nor in the feds. And he even stated that himself. He was always low custody.
For doing that grape shit in there, bro.
And the only reason why I brought that up is because he was trying to, you know, when somebody tries to say they're a part of an organization and you know clearly they're not, and you know, then that's why. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason why I keep bringing it up.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if it's a chomo, they're probably not going to do nothing about it, bro. You ain't even a human. You know what I'm saying? But like, if you down on a charge for like a theft or, you know, substances or assault or murder or anything like that, they ain't going to let you get your stuff took, bro. Like, it's just not going to happen, bro. Like, you can beat them up, but don't put pee-pee in them. No pee-pee. So
see, I gotta make that make sense to me, JD. You just said if it's a chomo, they're not gonna worry about it. But if you have basically what we call, I mean, good charges, or you're okay on the yard, then you'll be taken care of. First of all, I want to know how people are ending up on chomo yards in the first place. That's what I'm not comprehending on the last video that I reacted to, and now this one.
unfortunately, it's not like that in Alaska. So this kid sticks with him for a few days after this because he's shook. And the kid has a court date. Kid comes back from the court date. He beat his charge. They let this kid go. He beat the charge that was a felony. They gave him time served for the misdemeanor. They were like, this is a kid who has mental health issues. They set him up with a program so that he could get help when he was on the streets instead of keeping him locked up. Kid came back, thanked Jason for everything, packed his stuff, and went back out to the real world. Can you?
That's good, man. Excuse me. That's very good. I'm glad to hear that. Please excuse me for me belching, but yeah, I'm glad they let that kid go.
Imagine how much harder that kid would have had it if he would have gotten done up by 4 dudes while he was in prison a few days before he got out, bro. It was a miracle that somebody went and woke Jason up, and Jason could stop these dudes from doing that to that poor kid. 100% a miracle. So, Jay called me the other week, and he's like, "Bro, I did a really good thing. I was able to save this kid." And I was like, "Yes, that's dope, bro. Jacob Green, I really appreciate you. Big love and respect to you, homie. Thanks for the support, man."
Right on, Jason.
And big hug. And then yesterday he calls me and he's like, "Bro, what do you know about waking up, getting your face kicked in by 3 natives in your cell when you're asleep?"
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video short. I will be doing another reaction to the other part of this, but hey, do me a favor, man. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. It's not gonna cost you anything. And let me know what you guys think about this, man. Let me know what you guys think about this. Obviously, hey, it's all love, man, because these people who have to live these lives in the cells and stuff, locked down, not seeing a day of freedom. It's a lot, man. It is a lot, especially if you're just in there for some petty ass crimes, and I don't mean petty. Now, don't get my words twisted. What I mean by petty is like, for instance, you're in there for drugs or whatever, but yet they gave you a life sentence and they're letting these chomos out.